George in Tampa. Hey, George, what's on your mind?
Yeah, hey. So I've got I've voted in the past for Clinton, and I've also voted Republican. So I'm kind of, I guess in the middle, and try to look objectively at the, at both sides and who's coming, with the.
Do you base your votes on how they smile or how they dress or what?
No. I mean, based on the, the ideas that they have.
What idea did Bill Clinton have that you wanted to vote for?
Well, I mean, this is the point. I guess, I'm looking at this, and I'm just trying to think objectively, and I just remember in the past, Romney said something. I don't remember if it was the first debate or if it was one of his speeches, but he said, by the way, I just finished this graduate level economics class, so it really struck a chord with me, and it said that, he said to fix the deficit problem, you either have to increase taxes, decrease spending, or grow the economy. And,
right.
It just feels like, looking at what's fairest for our country, I think that there are people who can pay more and and there's people who can pay less. But I just feel like his plan overall is more equitable than something that's going to just tax the most wealthy people, in America.
Well, hang on just a second here, George. The back 2.5 years ago, the Democrats passed out of the House of Representatives a piece of legislation that would significantly grow the economy, that would have done away with the tax incentives that, for example, as we speak right now, it's going to end the day after the election. Sensata, a Bain-owned corporation, Bain bought this company. They've been manufacturing, it used to be a Raytheon plant. They've been manufacturing sensors for cars for decades. The average employee there is in their 50s, and they started in their 20s. These are good-paying American jobs, right? Good-paying jobs in America, good manufacturing jobs. Bain bought the company, said, we can make more money if we ship this, literally the factory. They're shipping the machines to China. They brought in the Chinese people on visas and had them trained by the Sensata workers, and then they're following them back there. The tax deduction that Bain will get, every penny of the cost of flying the Chinese over here to learn, the cost of packing up those machines, the cost of shipping those machines to China, every penny of that is tax deductible under the U.S. tax code right now to Bain Capital. Not only that, when they start manufacturing in China, they can keep their profits in China. And if they're selling to themselves, if they've got a U.S. operation here that's doing the retail selling to the auto manufacturers, and then they've got a manufacturing entity in China, they can sell to themselves at any price. So say that it's a sensor that costs $100 in a car, and it costs them $8 to manufacture. Well, instead of selling it from Sensata China to Sensata US for $8, they can sell it from Sensata China to Sensata US for $100. Keep that $92 in profit in China and never pay U.S. money, income taxes on it. This is the game that these corporations, these multinational corporations have been playing, and this is the game that Bain Capital has been playing. This is how Mitt Romney got rich in part. And by the way, part of Mitt Romney's $20 million income last year came from Sensata, from this deal. And the Democrats passed a piece of legislation out of the House of Representatives that put an end to that. In fact, the president last night called for an end to those kinds of loopholes. The Republicans, it passed the House of Representatives. The Republicans filibustered it in the United States Senate. Had that happened, tens of thousands of manufacturing jobs would have been grown in the last 3 years. The economy would have grown. A year ago, the president put forward a jobs bill. It literally was it wasn't let's hire government employees. It was a jobs bill, and the Republicans filibustered it. I agree with you that one of the best, and with Mitt Romney and with Barack Obama, that one of the very best ways to get out of a deficit. This is how. Both Harry Truman and Dwight Eisenhower, Democrat and Republican, this is how they paid off the debt from World War II, which is 127% of GDP, far worse than we are right now. This is how they paid it off. They grew the economy. But the Republicans had this meeting the night that Obama was sworn into office. Right down the street here from where I'm sitting in the Caucus Room restaurant, there was 17 Republicans who sat there, along with Frank Luntz and Newt Gingrich. And Paul Ryan was in that meeting, and John Kyle, and there's a whole bunch of very powerful Republicans. And they swore a blood oath to each other. Half a dozen senators, the rest of them were members of the House of Representatives. They swore basically a blood oath that they would block any efforts, anything that might succeed in getting Obama's financial agenda, his bringing America back agenda to go forward. And for 2 months and 1 day, Obama had a supermajority in the Senate until Scott Brown was seated. For 2 months and 1 day, he had a supermajority, and he was able to get that stimulus passed that stopped us from losing 800,000 jobs a month, and now we've created over 5 million new jobs. But he hasn't been able to do anything since Scott Brown was seated, since the Republicans have been able to filibuster in the Senate. None of those pieces of legislation. So the Republican agenda is very, very clear, George. It's destroy the economy. And by the way, in the process, make the rich richer. It's the percentage of income that has gone to the very top. The top 1% now have 41% of all the wealth in the United States. The bottom 60% of Americans have 2.3% of all the wealth in the United States. You're going to tell me there's something okay with that? That's the status quo that Mitt Romney wants.
Well, all I can say is, I'll end on this, is I just feel like at this point in time in our country's history that Romney, it seems to me, to be the right person at the right time.
Give me one reason why.
Because I feel like we are in a situation, one
serious reason.
Because I feel like he has broader experience and a host of
You
things.
want a guy who has experience shrinking companies, laying off workers. I mean, I worked at Clear Channel when Bain took over Clear Channel. The first thing that happened, a wave of firing. It's company after company after company. This is what Bain does. This is Mitt Romney's business model: is fire people and keep the money for himself.
Look, when these guys are elected, they're supposed to be good stewards with what we've given them, correct? I mean, they're working for us?
No.
And I'm not just saying Romney.
They're supposed to be, but that's not the history of the Republican Party. If you look at what has happened since Reagan, under the Republican presidents, Reagan, Bush, and Bush, what you have seen is the rich get richer and the middle class gets screwed.
We need to be more responsible. That's all. Our leaders need to be more responsible with the spending, and I think that needs to be cut back.
So, and you're gonna trust a guy who tells 31 lies in 41 minutes to be more responsible, George. I just, respectfully, I have to question your judgment.